Hello, TI family. This is Edwin Jones from Indianapolis, Indiana. And this is about spiritual warfare's scope. But before I get into that, I have prepared my notes because, as you guys know, when you start speaking as a targeted individual, sometimes you veer off point, and we become more emotional than pragmatic. So I've got my notes prepared, so bear with me. But before I get off into the spiritual warfare main body, I'd like to preface it by saying that I've been working at a temporary job at IndyStar, owned by Gannett Corporation, for about 6 months. And this morning, I had to get up and take a drug screen test and fill out a background check, both of which I'll pass. But yesterday, the day before, I was gaslighted for the third time. You see, I've been there for 6 months. I've outlasted 30 people, 30 much younger people, got perfect attendance, never refused an assignment. I'm the only college graduate who has a degree in business and is working on his second degree in paralegal studies. And so, but being a targeted individual, as you know, none of that matters. They don't want you there, they want you gone, and they'll send the lowlifes, both black and white. They'll send the people on the bottom rung of the socioeconomic ladder to elicit a negative response from you so that you can fire yourself. But anyway, we'll see how that goes. And all those hoops that I've jumped through for the past 6 months are for an $11 an hour job. So you TIs know how hard it is to secure employment and to keep employment. Now, what I wanted to share, which is related to that, is if you've been a targeted individual by government and business to be injured in person and reputation, the scope of targeting is beyond your comprehension. If you haven't gone through it, you have no idea what the program is about. Now, we're all targeted to some degree, but if you're like me and you sue the Indianapolis Police Department, you sued General Motors, and you sued a dentist for medical malpractice, then you invite some people who are very serious about your targeting, and you get the worst and the most consistent targeting that you can imagine. And the proof lies with J. Edgar Hoover's own words. When he created this program, this COINTEL program, when he, as director of the FBI, said that, and I do quote, "The individual is handicapped, coming face to face with a conspiracy so monstrous he cannot believe it exists." And that is the essence of spiritual warfare. To put you in a frame of mind where you destroy yourself or you destroy someone else. This is a government coordinated program that overtly and covertly is designed to injure you in person and reputation. Now, everybody knows the story of Jesus. He's the most well-known TI on the planet. He spoke truth to power also. And as a result of his efforts, he was followed everywhere. He endured lies, rumor, hearsay, innuendo, false narratives. His inner circle was invaded. There were traps, scenarios, and when the scribes and Pharisees finally figured out he's not going to fall on his own sword, they just arrested him and killed him anyway, which is the last thing that they do. If they can't get you to trip yourself up, then they'll give you a little help. And everybody knows that the same things happened to Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and even JFK, in my opinion. He was targeted by the same CIA that he threatened to, and I do quote, grind in the dust and scatter to the winds. The same things are happening to Julian Assange and Bill Cosby, but in a different way nowadays. The government uses this emotional issue of sexual misconduct to achieve a political end. Now, Julian Assange was a whistleblower. So, but that's obscured because he was falsely accused of rape. Bill Cosby wanted to buy NBC, and for that, his son was killed. His son had a flat on a Mercedes that had flat-proof tires. But what really did Bill Cosby in was that he called Donald Trump Donald Tramp on TV. And all of a sudden, these girls, who they both knew because they both frequented the same Playboy club in L.A., started coming out of the closets talking about him giving them drugs. Now, that happened over 30 years ago. And at that time, and before that time, I was a musician. And girls sought musicians and actors and other people in a public eye. They sought them out. And sometimes they brought their own drug dealers with them because they knew that we got paid in cash. And I've experienced that. Now, business, government, and Trump, I believe, dug these women up from Cosby's past and offered them a carrot or a stick. That's how they control you, a carrot or a stick. They much rather talk to you and get you to believe them, but if not, they'll threaten you or they'll offer you something to gain. You either lose something or gain something to be a false witness. And 3 of those women that accused Cosby, they recanted, but that doesn't do him any good. And that's how most targeting is done. It's by the people that you are closest to or associated with, like in my case, my coworkers. And in the past 30 years, I've been targeted. The 30 years I've been targeted, I'm sorry, the government has separated me from mother, father, brother, son, and granddaughter. You see, and they have to start with that very tight inner circle because they represent who you are. They know you the best. And they're supposed to be the most believable when they speak of you. So their influence carries a lot of weight into the extended family, and also when they talk about you to strangers. Now, after your primary base of support is destroyed, your prospective girlfriends or boyfriends, employer, doctor, dentists, lawyers, neighbors, even strangers at places that you shop can work against you in a covert way while maintaining, and listen to me, while maintaining a facade of plausible deniability. That is, they'll gaslight you or shun you in such a way that you can't prove it. And then if you say something to them, I know what you're doing, excuse me, then you look paranoid. You look like you're deluded. You look schizophrenic. You look manic because they are maintaining this facade of plausible deniability. They can deny it because they didn't actually say it. You just took it that way, which was exactly how they meant it, right? So, and I'm sure also that since Jesus' time, the chemicals and DEWs have also come along and to provide electromagnetic chaos and introduce other foreign elements in your body to affect your behavior. Sorry, I got tongue-tied there. But that is the least perceptible and the least provable. So I said all this to say this: to deal with the incredible scope of a common agenda, collaborative effort, conspiracy, if we may stay with the C words, I urge you to stay visible. I've run for public office 3 times, 2002, 2006, and 2020 on behalf of targeted individuals. State Representative, District 98, Indianapolis, Indiana. They want you to crawl into a ball and go into a corner and hide. Don't do it. Volunteer where you can. I used to volunteer in the nursing homes before COVID-19 closed it. The devil deals in darkness, and you can't stay in the darkness. You have to get out in the light. And when I go to work, I'll have the place there are devils that don't like me. But I never forget, half of the people do like me. Okay? Now, that's not to say that things won't change. But right now, half the people like me, half the people don't. And even if all the people didn't like me, that still wouldn't stop me from going to work. You can't allow yourself to isolate yourself. Okay? I'm enrolled in paralegal studies at Ivy Tech, getting my second degree, as I mentioned before. And I belong to several online TI groups to talk to other TIs. Sometimes we exchange telephone numbers. There's another thing, too. Get it off your chest. Get it off your chest. Don't internalize things because they eventually drag your pH down and make you physically sick. I talk to others constantly. I'll complain and get it off my chest. But that's very important that you don't let it eat you up from the inside. I have a hobby. Okay, I play guitar. I eat less junk food and more whole natural foods because that elevates your mood. And the most important things to avoid when depressed are the things that can and will make you more depressed. Okay? I don't do drugs. I don't do hard liquor. I don't drink and drive. I don't have casual sex. I haven't had a girlfriend in 11 years or sex in 7. Yeah, I'm a musician. And that's because each and every relationship that I had starts out great. However, demeanors changed over 2 or 3 weeks period, and you can tell. You know, there's plausible deniability there, but you know what you know. You can tell when a person has acted this way, and the difference between how they're acting now. I decided to just quit playing that game because relationships are going to be staged if you're a targeted individual. You got to get used to that. You got to get used to being alone. And there's another thing that I do. I meditate. I pray. And there are 2 passages in the Bible that have, well, the first one has a parallel citation with a legal ethics sentence. But anyway, 1 Thessalonians 5:22 says, abstain from the appearance of evil. In legal ethics, there's a sentence that says, avoid the appearance of impropriety. It says the very same. And you know when something is evil. You know when you shouldn't be doing something. 2 Corinthians 6:17 also says, and I'm paraphrasing, when you see them doing wrong over there, separate from them. So a lot of our problems come from the people that we associate with. Now, being social animals, we don't want to be alone. But at some point in time, you're going to have to make that choice. You're going to have to make that choice. Do you want to be around people so much that they're going to keep you on an emotional roller coaster and get you in probably legal trouble or die? Or are you going to find peace within yourself and exist within yourself? Because you were born alone. And trust me, you're going to die alone. Finally, you can't stop this program. At least not yet. You know, our numbers are growing, but the government has unlimited resources. And you can see with this administration that they'll crush dissidents. Now, just like J. Edgar Hoover did in the 50s, the 60s, and 70s. You can't stop this program you're in, but you can definitely do the right things that will blunt its impact. So, I'm going to get ready to go to work. It's off to another round of alienating gaslighting and shunning. And thank you for listening. Y'all have a good day. God bless.